gentlemen, here are the starting lineups for tonight's contest. From Montana State, at forward, number 35, a junior from Livonia, Michigan, Tom D'Amico. And for the Grizzlies, a sophomore from Spokane, Washington, a 6'9" forward, Wayne Pinko. And at one guard position for the Bobcats, wearing number 15, a sophomore from Livingston, Montana, Shan Birch. And for the Grizzlies, at guard, number 20, 6'3" sophomore from Anchorage, Alaska, Cody Reed. And at center for Montana State, number 32, a sophomore from Shodo, Mike Fellows. And please join with us in recognizing center Steve Vannick, a 6'9" senior from Warren, Oregon. Steve has played in 84 career games. He's on the verge of becoming Montana's single-season and career field goal percentage shooter. Number 52, Steve Vannick. And at one forward spot for the Bobcats, number 22, 6'3.5" senior from Livingston, Paul Birch. And for the Grizzlies, playing his final regular season home game, a 6'3" senior from Corvallis, Oregon, Todd Powell, the number 25 scorer, 722 points, the number 8 assist leaders with 189, number 22, Todd Powell. And starting at the guard for the Bobcats, number 10, Ray Willis, a 6-foot junior from Dallas, Texas. And finally, at the other guard spot for the Grizzlies, the all-time assist leader in Grizzly history, 399, the number 11 career scorer, 1,040 points, an academic All-American last season, a senior from Kalispell, number 10, Shut Banner.
Well, we don't know if we're going to have as good a game as we did 1 month ago, but the electricity is certainly in Adams Fieldhouse. Back with the tip-off after this.
Montana State University Bobcats. The University of Montana Grizzlies. If you live in the state of Montana, chances are you're either a Bobcat or a Grizzly, which makes you part of one of the biggest rivalries west of the Mississippi. And now you can bring that rivalry into your own home. Montana State, in conjunction with the University of Montana, have selected Fall Rivals by national renowned Montana artist Tom Licotti as the Montana Challenge Trophy for the annual Bobcat Grizzly football game. This incredible watercolor has been reproduced and is limited to 1,000 signed and numbered prints. And once sold out, these prints could increase dramatically in value. One of the first prints is already hanging in the Helena State Capitol building. The cost of these limited and highly coveted prints is only $100, with a portion of your contribution going to your choice of either the University of Montana or Montana State University Athletic Scholarship Fund. Join the rivalry. Once again, these prints are limited and going fast, so call now. Call 1-800-221-2337. Again, 1-800-221-2337.
It's time to do it, folks. Mike Fellows, jumping center against Steve Vannick. Larry Frost along with Sean Ory. Sean, can we top last month's game?
I don't know if that's possible. That was such an end-to-end game going to overtime, but this game has all the makings to be the same sort of contest.
Bobcats control the opening tip. D'Amico for three. It won't go. Vannick controls the loose ball. Reed doesn't get it. So end-to-end action, no score yet. Shan Birch, he'll put up the J. That was almost an air ball.
He did put up the J, that's for sure.
Zanin tried to make a great pass. He did not quite make it through to Tony Reed. Grizzlies will now set the offense. 3 guards in the starting lineup for the Grizzlies. Tony Reed, Todd Powell, and Scott Zanin. There's Zanin. Lets Willis go by, puts it up from 8, and it rolls in. And we have debris on the floor. We talked about that last month.
Well, let's talk about Scott Zanin first of all right away. He has not played predominantly very well against the MSU Bobcats. Watch for him. If he gets off early, he probably is the one key player that can single-handedly turn a game around for the Montana Grizzlies. He's off quickly, hits his first shot off a great head fake, and he's in the books with 2 early points.
Grizzlies in a man-to-man defense. They talked about coming out in a man defense this week, trying to get some intensity from the beginning of the ball game. Crowford's from in the lane, and he gets it. We're tied at 2.
Well, you look to your seniors early, both the seniors that are playing their last games in this rivalry with the first 2 hoops in the ball game.
Bobcats also won a man defense. We expected that. Zanin working against Ray Willis. Pass to Tinkle. The shot doesn't go. The foul will go against Tom DeMaco. First foul of the ball game.
Well, for his size, Wayne Tinkle with a lot of basketball skills. He can put that ball to the floor. He's strong. He can post up. He can go out to 15. He has that kind of range. Very difficult to match up with if you're the MSU Bobcats.
Big Sky Conference standings as we, Sean, Montana State has locked up the Big Sky Conference Championship. They'll be the #1 seed. The Grizzlies, with a win tonight, could possibly be the #2 seed.
Now, this game is playing for a seed in the conference tournament, more or less. As you said, the Bobcats have locked it up. Boise State and the Grizzlies battling for that second spot right now.
Now, Boise State is playing in Flagstaff, Arizona against NAU tonight. Boise State trails at 32-28 at the half. A Boise State win, and they're the #2 seed no matter what happens. Tinkle hits both free throws.
And we will keep our eye on that score as the night progresses.
Some pressure by the Grizzlies. The Bobcats get it across the 10-second line. Ray Willis doesn't get it. Crowford gets the rebound. It doesn't go, but there's DeMaco.
You know, the Bobcats not one of your better rebounding teams in the Big Sky Conference, but there you see picking up 2 offensive rebounds.
Tony Reed in the corner just about loses it, and he does lose it out of bounds. He bounced the ball out of bounds. Turnover to the Bobcats. First turnover of the game on Montana.
Well, the kind of game that we thought we would see early. A lot of pressure, both teams pushing the ball up and down the court, and both teams playing that tough pressure man-to-man defense.
We're tied at 4. Bobcats can take their first lead if the score here. Crowford, what a great job on the offensive boards.
That's Crowford at his finest right there. Vintage Crowford slashing in and out. Goes for his own rebound with that great leaping ability and converts off the offensive board.
His leaping ability makes him a great offensive rebounder.
That's 6'4".
And I think it's closer to 6'3" if you were brutally honest about it. And that foul will go against Ray Willis. We talked about Crowford going to work on the offensive boards and working hard.
And what we saw right there with Scott Zanin and Ray Willis, you want to talk about 2 good athletes. That's quite a matchup to keep our eye on right there. Scott Zanin looking to be very offensive early in this game, and that's good if you're a Grizzly fan because he is a tremendous offensive player.
The lob to Todd Powell, blocked by Fellows, and there's going to be a foul called, or is that a goaltending? Goaltending called against Fellows.
And a good call by the official, but also good help by Mike Fellows as he came over from the center position and helped down.
Todd Powell gets the 2 points, tied at 6. If you want to talk about one of the keys for the Grizzlies, Todd Powell. He has not been playing well in recent games. Shan Furch doesn't get it, and I think that foul is going to go against Steve Vanek.
Well, I talked about it earlier. The boards have been a real liability this season for Stu Starner's Bobcats, but early on in this game, they are crashing and crashing with authority. We're going to see it right here. Shan Furch with the miss. Watch Mike Fellows, great position underneath. Wayne Tinkle comes over and catches him.
You're right, the foul went against Tinkle. I thought it was against Vanek. Crowford gets it. 8-6 Bobcats, 6 points for Furt.
And that's a tough shot. Tony Reed, great defense. Had a hand up in his face. Crowford, I don't even know how he could see the basket, let alone convert, but a great offensive play.
Zanin drives it into the lane. I'm not sure if that was a shot or a pass. Vanek gets it on the second try.
think there's a reason why Steve Bannock shoots 67% from the floor, one of the tops in the nation, folks, and that's because he goes to the board so hard.
DeMaco for three. It doesn't go. Out of bounds off Steve Bannock. It will belong to the Bobcats.
And another player that didn't have his best weekend last week was Tom DeMaco. We take a look at the MSU's keys to the win. They have to get in a full-court game. They have to keep the margin close on the boards, and they have to take the crowd out of the game early because this is quite a difficult place to play in the Big Sky Conference.
And for Montana.
And the Grizzlies, they need to control underneath with Bannock and Tinkle, control the turnovers, and Powell has to shoot the ball very well. If he doesn't shoot the ball very well, it's difficult for him to contribute.
Grizzlies coming off a very disappointing road trip in which they were beaten soundly by both Boise State and Idaho. And they need to control those turnovers, and missed by the Bobcats. That's what really led to those blowouts on the road. Tony Reed to the basket. And the foul goes against Casey McGowan, who just checked into the game. And of course, Casey McGowan was one of the big stories in the first game.
What can you say about what Casey McGowan did in the first game? He single-handedly brought his team back. But let's talk about Tony Reed on the previous trip down the court. Great offensive move going coast to coast. Just said, hey, get out of my way. I'll outrun you. This is it's going to be my deuce.
So Crowell First will go to the line to shoot two.
I think Stu Starner, as we look over there on the bench, just saying, Shan, relax a little bit. You're our point guard. Help us get into our offense. Help us get our players the ball in the right spot on the floor. Don't come down and let that three-pointer go before we get a chance to get into our rhythm.
Chris Conway in the game replacing Shan Perch. The second free throw doesn't go. Grizzlies with the 1-point lead. 7 points for Crowell Perch.
Great
nice pass. And Bannock puts it in. Grizzlies with a 3-point lead. Bannock has 4.
I think we're seeing Scott Zanin say, hey, I'm getting off the schneid here tonight. I'm going to penetrate. I'm going to do the things that I can do out on the court well. And so far, he's played a tremendous opening minutes.
And a turnover. Wayne Tinkle controls for Montana. Grizzlies bring it down. Zanin. It doesn't go. Real tough shot.
Good shot, but Scott Zanin can make that shot.
Casey McGowan working against Crowell First. And we have a foul called inside, and I believe that once again it's going to go against Steve Bannock. He picks up his second.
You know, they say where to watch, fans at home. If you want to see some battles going on underneath, watch Bannock and Mike Fellows underneath. Crowell First is going to make the nice entry pass. Had Bannock on his hip, goes up strong underneath before the shot. There was a foul, but that's quite a battle. A couple of very strong fellas.
It is foul number 1 on Steve Bannock. 3 team fouls on the Grizzlies. Chris Conway handling the ball. Willis for 3, in and out. Grizzlies on the run, 2 on 3. Zanin to the basket. Doesn't get it.
And that's a tough shot, left-handed.
And here goes Crowell. Oh, he lays it in. I think Crowell got in the air a little bit early. 9 points for Crowell First.
And it was absolutely after he shot the ball, got caught underneath. Tony Reed has to rotate back. He's the off guard. He got caught flat-footed, and Crowell First gets the layup.
Crowell First certainly doing a good job early. Loose ball, turnover to the Bobcats. Second turnover against the Grizzlies. And that's something we didn't see in the first game. Mike Fellows getting some offense early. 2 points for Fellows.
And there's your most improved player for the MSU Bobcats. Fellows has really contributed this year. He's shooting 54% from the floor, averaging just 7 points a game, but he has been a big key to the Bobcats' success, especially on the boards.
Fellows had just 4 points in the first meeting between these two teams. All 4 came in overtime. Tinkle working against DeMaco. He puts it up. It won't go. And here come the Bobcats, 3-on-1. And DeMaco gets it. Bobcats lead it by 3, 15-12, 4 points for DeMaco.
And if you want to know why the Bobcats are 11-2 right now, 20-6 overall, that's because they run the break like that, and they have forwards like Tom DeMaco that can get out and run it.
Into Bannock in the paint. He doesn't get it. Oh, yeah.
Can I be Dick Andrew? I want to say, oh, my.
17-12, Bobcats with a 5-point lead. Grizzlies not getting back on defense. 11 points for Crowell First. He is the major story. Bobcats lead it by 5. In about 6.5 minutes, Crowell Furch, 11 points.
Well, none better than that right there. That's transition basketball, a little bit of reminiscent of what he did to Willie Glass from St. John's last year in the NCAA tournament. Crowell 5 of 7 from the field, 1 of 2 from the free throw line for 11 points. And folks, we're just a little less than 7 minutes into this ball game, so he is getting off early.
And if Crowell Furch converts the free throw, he would give the Bobcats a 6-point lead. That would be their biggest.
Look for the Grizzlies when they get the ball back on offense to get the ball down low. That's their strength. Steve Bannock missed a shot the time before down the court, and he can't score down low. He and Wayne Tinkle. Look for that to happen this time down.
Full court pressure by the Bobcats. Grizzlies having a little bit of trouble. Bobcats have scored 9 straight points.
Look for Zanin to get them into their offense. He and Tony Reed. A couple of very good guards. Get it down low. There's Vanek on the block.
Good help defense by Crowell.
So you see the Grizzlies game plan. Stu Morrill. You know, he says, hey, Big Steve, Big Wayne, we're going to get the ball down low and convert down there.
25 seconds on the shot clock as the Grizzlies bring it in. Tony Reed on the baseline. It won't go. And it will stay with the Grizzlies.
Give Tony Reed credit there. He missed a shot, but stayed with it. Went to the offensive boards, and that's what you have to do. You can't quit.
Grizzlies now back to their original starting lineup. Todd Powell checking back into the game, and there's Powell's first shot. He gets it.
Tough shot. Nice job by Todd Powell. He can shoot the ball well. He shoots 48% from the floor, averaging just about 11 points per game on the year.
I forgot that Todd Powell got 2 points on the goaltending, and he now has 4 points on the evening. Bobcats lead it by 4. D'Amico for 3. D'Amico has yet to get off the mark. He has not played well in his prior 3 games in Missoula.
Well, he hit the 1 shot off the transition on the way up, yet he has not hit well from outside. He's 0 for 3, all from the 3-point line.
Tinkle puts it on the floor, and it rolls in.
Boy, is that pretty. I mean, at about 6'9" or 6'10", putting the ball to the floor, doing those kind of things is impressive.
2 important possessions for the Grizzlies as they close that lead down to 2. Bobcats lead at 18-16. Chris Conway. And Chris Conway gets it. First 2 points of the game.
Well, what can you say when you have guys the caliber of Chris Conway coming in off the bench, giving Ray Willis a break earlier, Shan Furch a break? They don't skip a beat with him.
Scott Zanin gets it. Grizzlies pull back to within 2. 4 points for Zanin.
Well, see, averaging 17 points on the year. He kind of goes as the Grizzlies go. They need him to play well.
Good defensive breakdown by the Grizzlies. Mike Fellows all alone inside. 4 points for Fellows. Bobcats go back up by 4.
Stu Morrill up off the bench doing a little coaching there, saying, hey, fellas, let's not be giving 5-foot bunnies to the other team's center.
Pass inside the Bannock. Back out to Powell.
Good pass.
Nice move by Reed. And back within 2. 4 points for Tony Reed.
You see him pass up the 10-footer to get the layup, and that's good coaching, and that's good basketball.
Grizzlies now dropping back into the zone. Shan Furch almost gets caught up in the air. Chris Conway again. This time he doesn't get it. It comes out, but tipped back in by D'Amico.
This Tom D'Amico, they list him in the program at 6'8", but we talked to Stu Starner and Bruce Parker, the sports information director. Let's call it a little more like 6'10", maybe.
Bobcats lead it by 4, 24-20. Nearly a turnover. Powell gets it back. There's Tony Reed. He's open, and he gets it. Reed with 6.
Tony Reed really playing well. He did not start the game in Bozeman, but here tonight, 6 early points, and he's playing very well.
Bobcats showing some good patience. Fellows in the paint. Nice shot.
And that's the shot that Mike Fellows has developed since last year, and he's got a lot of confidence in that baby jump hook. He flashes into the lane, receives the ball from Crowell Furch, and hits that shot, and that's a potent weapon in his arsenal.
6 points for Fellows. Z goes behind the back to Reed. This time it doesn't go. Tinkle with the offensive board. And we have a foul called inside. I believe it's going to go against Conway.
And that's one of the things we talked about. The Grizzlies doing a good job of crashing the boards, offensively and defensively. That time, Tinkle picking up the garbage and going back up strong.
26-22, Montana on top. We have a timeout on the floor. It's been a good one again so far. As we came back, you saw the replay. It does get physical on the inside.
Well, you take the ball up underneath, and you better take it up strong, or you're going to be wearing a little bit of leather in your teeth, because there's some big horses in there named Steve Bannock and a Mike Fellows, and just checking into the game, a Clayman Jacobs. So the Beef brothers are getting it on down low.
We come back with Wayne Tinkle on the free throw line for the Grizz. He'll shoot 2. He was fouled on that sequence you saw. And Tinkle misses it. He was 2 for 2 at the line.
Well, Tinkle shooting about 71% from the free throw line on the year. That's just about what the Grizzlies are shooting as a team.
Grizzlies are the top free throw shooting team in the Big Sky Conference.
And that's an important stat. People overlook that.
Tinkle misses the second one, but the Grizzlies control. Tony Reed brings it out to set the offense. Bobcats lead it by 4.
Nice job of hustling again by Tony Reed. Very frustrating if you're Stu Starner to have a guy go to the line, miss 2 shots, and then they get their rebound back.
Bobcats really applying pressure with that man defense, forcing the Grizzly offense outside. And the foul goes against Kelvin Andrews as Wayne Tinkle and Kelvin Andrews were really mixing it up inside.
Well, that's the battle. He's subbing in for Mike Fellows, and they were doing a lot of pushing. That foul probably could have went either way, but they did get Calvin for it. Watch the battle down low. A little bit of pushing and shoving going on. Calvin trying to get position. Tinkle fighting for position. There's an elbow. Both ways. That's college basketball, I guess.
Kelvin Andrews drew the foul. 14 fouls, no shooting. Tony Reed gives it up to Scott Zanin. And we have a call inside, and I believe again it's going to go against Kelvin Andrews. Kelvin Andrews picks up 2 quick fouls.
Well, Mark Schultz has just checked into the game. A little more beef underneath the basket. Calvin not as strong and as big as some. He's as big, but he's not as strong. He doesn't have the weight. So he's at a little bit of a disadvantage underneath the basket.
Todd Powell with the ball for the Grizzlies. There's Schultz, the freshman out of Spokane. And I think we're going to have an offensive foul called against Mark Schultz. Charging on Schultz, his first foul of the ball game. That will go as a turnover. Bobcats will have the ball with a 4-point lead.
They would have called that on Calvin Andrews. It would have been 3 fouls in the span of about 10 seconds if they would have called that on it. I'll tell you, Schultz comes into the game. He knows what he's going to do. He's going to the boards, and he's taking the ball to the hole, and that's what he does.
Now the Grizzlies once again showing man defense. Inside to Clayman Jacobs. Turnaround. Oh, and off the top of the backboard.
Oh, Clayman's living right tonight. I'll tell you, that ball almost went over the backboard.
Bobcats lead it by 6.
We call that a crier, I think. I'm not sure.
Zanin falling away. But there's Schultz with the offensive board. And that's going to be a goaltend against Clayman Jacobs. Sean, I'm not sure if that one had a chance to even make it to the basket.
I thought it was going to be an air ball. Really a silly goaltending by Calvin Andrews that time. I guess you can't fault him for hustle. Maybe in his judgment, though.
The lead is down to 4. Tony Reed working against Ray Willis.
Just watch off the ball. You want to see some contact.
Crowell Birch doesn't get it, but Clayman Jacobs does.
Well, Clayman Jacobs, not the biggest of players height-wise, but he has pretty good quickness, and he's very, very strong down low. That time he just spun off Steve Bannock and went to the offensive boards.
You know, the Bobcats doing some of the same things they did in Bozeman. Good spurts of offensive rebounding. Trying to get it inside to Bannock. It's a turnover. No. Traveling against the Bobcats. It goes back to the Grizzlies.
Good call by the official. Clayman Jacobs trying to key the break for the Bobcats, but we're going to take a look at the shot of the night other than Krause. Doug, watch this ball. I don't know if we have it on tape. It goes off. You can't see it. It almost hit a support wire. Almost went over the basket, came down and went in.
Other Big Sky action at the half. It is Idaho State on top of Weber, 31-29. Now, if Weber State loses tonight, the Wildcats will be the number 8 seed in the Big Sky tourney, and they will be playing the Bobcats next week in Flagstaff. Inside to Tinkle, and he misses it.
It's what you call $1 million move and a 10-cent shot. A great job of sealing off. Godfellows, Clayman Jacobs, on his hip. Just didn't concentrate and hit the hoop.
Bobcats with a chance to go up by 8. Shan Birch for 3. Doesn't get it. And Tom DeMaco. And Stu Morrill can't believe it. A traveling call against the Grizzlies. He wanted a foul called against Tom DeMaco.
And I'd have to agree. If Tom was all over his back there, we may be able to take a look at it. I think Stu Morrill has a very good case on that one.
Of course, the fans have to get involved by throwing things on the floor.
Wayne Tinkle, Tom DeMaco was wearing him. He was on his back.
Yeah, it looked pretty obvious from here.
Oh, let's blow the whistle on that one. Whoa. Yeah, we'll take a look at it. There's DeMaco. Hard to see out of the corner of the, from where we were sitting.
Yeah, from where we were sitting, it was a foul.
Schultz and Clayman Jacobs battling it out down low. Not for the weak of heart down there. Travel, good call, he's got it.
Turnover number 3 on the Bobcats.
Nice creative move by Ray Willis, a move that he can make, but he did shuffle the feet before he went up.
So the Grizzlies now with a chance to cut into this 6-point lead. And boy, I tell you what, the Bobcats really do a good job of taking care of the ball, Sean, as we look at the turnover margin. I mean, the way they get up and down the floor.
And that keys their whole game. That's why they run so well and why they lead the league in scoring offense, because they key it off their defense.
And Wayne Tinkle gets the shot off the low block. That cuts the lead to 4. 6 points for Tinkle.
Well, Tink shooting 58% on the year, averaging about 15 points per game. So he has the tools and the offensive ability to load it up.
Again, Grizzlies now in a man defense. DeMaco for 3. It won't go. There's Willis with an offensive board. Bobcats just can't get at the ball. Finally, Clayman Jacobs. What'd they have? 4 chances?
4 chances, and I'll tell you what, that is physical under there. The Grizzly guards had released for the fast break. That left 3 on about 4 or 5 Bobcats, and the ball just kept bouncing to them.
So far, great rebounding by the Bobcats. And it's 6 points for Tom DeMaco.
And we talked about that rebounding as one of our keys. Number 1, the Grizzlies have to dominate inside. On the other hand, the Bobcats have to at least keep it close.
And there's the foul on Schultz as Shan Birch had the breakaway.
Wasn't the most picturesque of fast breaks you're ever going to see. Shan was a little bit out of control, trying to regain his composure. Schultz came from behind and mugged him. He wasn't going to get a shot off, that's for sure. Here's Schultz, the tail end of the play. A little bit over the back, a little bit on the head, feet, legs.
The break set up by the turnover at the other end as Nate Duchesne tried to drive into the lane. Nate Duchesne has been seeing more playing time for the Grizzlies, as Stu Morrill said prior to the game that Duchesne probably would see quite a bit of playing time in this game.
And Nate Duchesne has played well this year. He's only averaging 2.1 points per game, but that's just pure and simple lack of playing time. He can shoot the ball, and he does do a lot of things for Stu Morrill.
Shan Birch gets the first free throw. Bobcats lead it by 7. Make it an 8-point lead for Montana State.
You know, so important playing in the Dahlberg Arena, one of the toughest places to play. The Grizzlies on the year 16-1 this season on their own home court, and a lot of that's due to their crowd. It is a tremendous crowd, and you have to take them out early. So far, the Bobcats have done that, but they can come back at any time.
That's Duchesne driving against DeMaco, trying to get it inside. Tinkle working against Clayman Jacobs. It won't go. Tipped out of bounds and belonging to the Grizzlies.
A lot of one-on-one that time by Tanks. Not really anything coming off their offense that time. Put the ball to the floor, spun twice both ways, kind of an Akeem Olajuwon kind of move, and went up with the shot.
Ralph Birch checks back into the ball game for Montana State. He replaces Clayman Jacobs. And freshman John Record checks into the game for Montana. He replaces Nate Duchesne, the sophomore.
Stu Moore will use Casey McGowan, Duchesne, and Record in and out of the lineup all night long. He likes to substitute at that position.
Into Tony Reed. Grizzlies trail it by 8, 34-26. Zanin from downtown. Bodies on the floor, and Zanin misses the shot, and here come the Bobcats.
Only 4 bodies on the floor after the shot, that's all.
And we have a block called against, I believe that was John Record on the defense. The freshman picks up the first foul.
Well, first of all, it's a nice job by Chris Conway of penetrating. Second of all, Record gets called for the block, but it was great help coming over from the weak side. Tony Reed was beaten on the play. We're going to see it right here. Chris Conway takes him to the hole. There's Record for the help. Chest up, tough call, but it was a good job of help defense.
4 minutes, 42 seconds left to go. The Bobcats lead it by 8.
Life tastes great and it's less filling. So here's to the greatest emotion in the world, the friendship between a coach and his players. No thanks, boys, I gave up cigars.
For a great get-together, there's only one light beer. Miller Lite.
Sean, we talked about the Bobcats, one of their keys, having to stay close on the boards. Right now, they're doing more than that.
Yeah, up 5. The Bobcats with 19 rebounds on the game. The University of Montana Grizzlies just 14. Turnovers, on the other hand, the Grizzlies with 6 and the Bobcats with 3. And there's the rebound margin on the season. The Bobcats being out-rebounded by 4 rebounds per game. The Grizzlies, on the other hand, the top rebounding team in the Big Sky Conference with a +4. But so far, the statistics in this game have not bore that out.
And that's been one of the reasons why the Bobcats have an 8-point lead with a chance to stretch it to 10 as Chris Conway is at the line for 2 free throws.
And let's talk about one of the reasons for that margin of rebounding right now is Clayman Jacobs, who's on the bench right now. But boy, he came in, went to the boards hard, really sparked the team.
Conway gets the roll on the second, and it's a 9-point lead. 3 points for Conway. Full court pressure.
Bannock and Tinkle into the... Oh, there's a turnover.
John Record not able to handle the pass. D'Amico puts it on the floor. He won't get it.
That's not a good shot for Steve. He was Tom. He was off balance, floating to the outside. And the ball will stay with the Bobcats, but he had no one underneath. It just wasn't a good decision by Tom D'Amico.
I watched Stu Moore on the bench right now saying, calm down, folks, calm down. His team just turned it over, a real silly turnover, and those are the ones that hurt. Turnovers because you're being aggressive or trying to do something good, that's okay, but those silly turnovers, they'll really haunt you.
Mental errors is what you're saying, and those hurt.
So the Bobcats now can build this to 11 or 12 if they should happen to get the three-pointer.
The Grizzlies extending that zone defense. Got to challenge the three-point shot.
There's Shan inside the Mike Fellows. That won't go, and Record with the rebound.
Good rebound by John Record. No numbers. Pull it out. Pull it out. There it is. Good job, Scott Zanin. Smart ball player.
It won't go. And here comes Chris Conway. To Shan Birch. And the Bobcats lead it by 11, 37-26. 4 points for the Shan man.
And once again, that's Bobcat basketball off the transition, off the Scott Zanin miss, which, by the way, was a good shot by Scott Zanin. He took that ball strong to the hole, laid it up with the left hand, didn't get it, but still a good shot.
With 3 minutes, 28 seconds left to go. Real dangerous time for the Grizzlies, even though they are on their own home floor. Zanin won't get it.
And that not a good shot. Scott needed to be a little bit more patient that time. Set up the offense. Let's get it down low to Steve, to Wayne, our big fellas that are shooting about 60% from the floor, and let them pound away.
Scott Zanin got off to a good start, you remember, in this game. But he's not been shooting the ball well lately. 2 of 8 now.
Get it down low. There it is. That's where they need it.
Right, Tinkle gets it, yeah.
Big Wayne and Big Steve. Hey, let's pound it down low. They don't shoot 68 and 64% from the floor for no reason.
8 points for Tinkle. Grizzlies close back within 9. And you know, D'Amico is still looking for his first outside shot, but the Bobcats control again the offensive board.
And that was a rock, and give the Grizzlies some credit there. They got a hand in his face. Great pass.
Good basketball by the Bobcats. Fellows scores it. He has 8. He's doubled his point output from the first game in Bozeman, and the Bobcats go back up by 11.
Shan Furch that time with a great pass coming down the court. More of a pass out of necessity than anything. He went up for the shot. It wasn't there.
Tony Reed trying to get it inside. John Record from outside. It won't go, and there's Fellows with a big rebound.
You know, you have to make them respect you from the outside, but when you got the big fellas, get it to them.
Crowell Furch doesn't get it, but there's Tom D'Amico. And he gets it. The Bobcats go up by 13. D'Amico with 8.
Big trip down the floor. Look for Zanin, Tony Reed, the seniors, and the heady players on the court have to take control of the game right now for Montana. Get that ball down low. It's Steve Bannock now. Get down low. Get position on the block. There it is, down low.
Oh, what a move by Tate.
Wow. Larry Christowiak shot a little bit. Reminiscent.
Cuts the lead to 11. 10 points for Tinkle. But nobody else has been doing much for the Grizzlies. We've got to push inside. We're going to wait and see. I believe 2 officials have 2 different calls. Let's wait and see.
Well, it's right in front of the Grizzly bench. Stu Morrill's out helping out on the call a little bit. It was Wayne Tinkle and Crowell Furch doing a lot of shoving over a pick.
It looks like we have had a double foul call. We'll wait and make sure on that.
I say that would be a great call if that in fact was what the call was. I'm telling you folks, if you want to enjoy this ball game, watch off the ball. They're going after it.
Fouls called on both Crowell Furch and Wayne Tinkle. Tinkle's second, the first on Crowell Furch.
Stu Starner and Stu Morrill, a couple of coaches that have just, you can't say enough. They've both done such a fine job with the programs, and, you know, all the, kudos and anything you could say about them, praise are due for those 2 great coaches.
In case you're wondering about the possession, a double foul is the same thing as a tie possession. The possession belongs to the Grizzlies.
Great pass.
And Tinkle lays it in. 12 points for Tinkle.
Todd Powell that time with his head up. He didn't have a lot of time to get that pass in there. Tinkle flashes Todd Powell immediately with the ball, and that's a great pass.
Kelvin Andrews to Crowell Furch, and Crowell buries it.
Well, Crowell playing like a senior.
13 points for Crowell after that 11-point spurt early in the game. That was his first bucket. 24 seconds left to go first half. Grizzlies will go for 1 shot. They trail it by 11, 43-32. Oh, bad pass by the freshman Record.
Look at Ray Willis in there. 6'1".
And that foul is going to go against Kelvin Andrews coming over the back. He picks up his 3rd foul. So the Grizzlies will get the ball back with 7 seconds left. No, I think that will be the 7th team foul on the Bobcats, and the Grizzlies will be shooting.
Well, not a big foul. But the Grizzlies go to the line and get a couple points here before we go into the break with just 7 seconds left on the clock.
Chance to cut that lead down to 9 points, where it could have been easily on the other end, back up to 13.
You bet. A great move by Ray Willis on the baseline, and shows some tremendous athletic jumping ability. Stu Starner going to bring Tom D'Amico back into the game for this last 7 seconds, try to free him up for a 3-pointer.
It will be Steve Bannock going to the line for the Grizzlies. Of course, he had a great game from the free throw line in Bozeman, including 2 free throws with under a minute left to send it to overtime.
Well, Bannock shooting about 73% from the foul line on the season, averaging about 14 points per game, 13.5.
And Bannock puts it in. He now has 5 points.
And that's very important. We talked about it a lot in the Bozeman game, but it's very important to have your big fellas like a Tinkle and like a Bannock to be able to shoot free throws, because they will go to the line a lot.
Bannock will try and get the second. It would cut it to a 9-point lead with 7 seconds left. He does. Bannock now with 6. Bobcats will have the last shot. Clayman Jacobs, and no shot. It will not count. Crowell Furch hits it, but it will not count. Your halftime score, Montana State 43. The Montana Grizzlies 34. The Bobcats lead it by 9. lead at 43-34. Sean, we talked a little bit while we were away on the break. In that, one reason I think the Grizzlies are behind at this point is that the pace has not only been quick, which the Grizzlies can play with, but really out of control for the Grizzlies.
The Grizzlies have the talent and whatnot on the court with a Scott Zanin to push the ball up the court and get layups, yet they are at their best when they'll inside out, when they'll take it down low to Vanek and Tinkle, let them shoot, and at times then pop it back out, and that will free up a Scott Zanin and their perimeter shooters to hit the three-point shot. If they do that, they'll get back in the game.
43-34, the Grizzlies lead it. The Bobcats lead it. And the Bobcats, on the other hand, Crowell first. Boy, what a great start that guy got off to.
Boy, Stu Starner could be nothing but happy right now at the half. His team did exactly what they needed to do. Get in that transition game. They played tough defense. They played it to a standstill on the boards, probably lead by 5 or 6 rebounds total, and just played a tremendous first half, led by Crowell Furch, as you mentioned.
You're watching, by the way, the shoot for center court. As that young man almost won $500. If they make the basket from center court, they win $500. I think one of the things we saw in that first half was that when the Grizzlies came out in the man defense, they really had a hard time matching up with Crowell.
Crowell presents matchup problems for anyone he plays against, as does a couple guys for the Grizzlies like a Wayne Tingle, but I think the offense in the Bobcat transition game got him off early. He got a couple layups, a beautiful dunk, hit some jump shots, and he was the difference in the first half of this ball game.
And we'll have a look at halftime stats just a bit later on, and I think when we do look at them, Sean, I'm going to say that I think rebounding will be the key stat, maybe.
You bet. We talked about that in the pre-game show. The Bobcats, we felt, number one, had to stay close. We didn't feel that they could actually out-rebound the Grizzlies, but we felt that the Grizzlies, on the other hand, had to dominate inside and win that by a decisive margin in order to win the ball game.
Halftime activities, let's go to Joe Wren.
Okay, Larry, down on center court. You think you're having fun with the game. We've got a lot of entertainment coming up here. Mark Staples and his dancing band with a musical tribute to the theme of the Butte High Altitude Speed Skating Center. Take it away.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the University of Montana Super Band.
43-34 is your halftime score. The Bobcats on top of the Grizzlies. We are getting close to the start of the second half. We'll be back with a look. This game between the Montana Grizzlies and the Montana State Bobcats is the 225th meeting. And this game is brought to you by Miller Lite. When it comes to light beer, there's only one beer, and that's Miller Lite. 43-34 Bobcats, some of the plays from the first half.
Well, you see Wayne Tinkle going up strong underneath for the shot. It doesn't go. Gets his own rebound. Oh, that's the Larry Christowiak move. Where is Larry? He's in San Antonio, battling it out for the Spurs right now. Great reverse layup.
But the Bobcats lead at 43-34. Halftime stats, some of the key things that we want to talk about on halftime stats, reasons that the Bobcats built a 9-point halftime lead.
Part of that reason was Mike Fellows, as we will take a look at some of the work he was doing. That's a major league screen. Nice pass by Shan Furch, and there's Mike. He'll go up strong and hit the little jumper. Fellows 4 of 5 from the field, a big key factor in the first half. He finished up with 8 points along with 4 rebounds as we take a look at the stats.
Certainly, Fellows much more of a factor in this game than he was in Bozeman. Field goal percentages, shooting percentages, Grizzlies shooting a little bit better. But look at that rebound, and that is a big decisive edge for the Bobcats.
Yeah, the two bottom stats are the ones that bear out why the Bobcats are ahead in this game. Rebounding 25-18. The Bobcats just have to work harder to get their rebounds because they are not as big. And turnovers, that's Bobcat basketball right there. They need to force more turnovers, and they've done that in the first half.
And the Grizzlies have only put up 31 shots in the first half. 12 points for Tinkle, Vanek, and Reed with 6 each. And, of course, Crowell Furch leading the way for the Bobcats. We'll be back with second half tip-off after this.
Basketball of anyone in the Big Sky Conference right now, currently up on Northern Arizona 60-54 with about 7 minutes left in the second half. Boise State will be a force when these teams travel to Flagstaff, Arizona this coming week.
And if Boise State wins that game, the Broncos will be the number 2 seed in the tournament, no matter what the Grizzlies do here. Will win no worse than the 3rd seed. Bobcats on offense. They lead it by 9, 43-34. Grizzlies come out in a man. Tom D'Amico still can't find the mark from the outside. Mike Fellows gets a good rebound. D'Amico misses again. Crowell Furch keeps it alive. Sean, the Grizzlies have to get to work on the boards. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
There's no question about it. The Bobcats have 11 offensive rebounds the first half. 2 more there. That's 13. The Grizzlies with only 6.
Ball goes into Vanek, working against Fellows, and Vanek gets it to roll in. I think Vanek was looking for a foul call. He didn't get it, but he gets it in the basket, 43-36.
And where does the ball go? Their first trip down the court, down low to Big Steve Vanek and Big Wayne Tinkle. That's their bread and butter. That's what will get them back into the game.
Both teams with the same lineup they used to start the game. Shan Furch from the corner. That was a 2-pointer. Bobcats lead at 45-36. Interesting to note, Sean, not a single 3-pointer yet in this game.
No. Shan Furch can shoot the ball, shooting 48% on the year, averaging about 11 points on the season. He knocks that one down, a lot of confidence.
The lob to Tinkle. He has to throw it back in, and it's a turnover to the Bobcats. Shan Furch spins, puts up an air ball, and it goes off Zannon's hands out of bounds.
He's just shaking his head saying, I can't believe how I let that one go off my hands. Shan really got caught in the air. A little bit out of, not a little bit out of control, a lot out of control that time. He needs to pull that ball up at the free throw line and then make something happen. Either take the jumper or dish off.
Shan Furch is left all alone. There's Crowell Furch on the offensive boards, but this time Zannon clears it.
Another offensive board, though.
Tinkle puts it up and gets it.
Oh, he's a soft shooter for as big as he is.
14 points for Tinkle.
Tinkle shooting 58% on the
Willis
season.
Takes it to the basket strong. He draws the foul from Tony Reed. Willis will go to the line to shoot 2. And now Mike Allers checks into the lineup for the Grizzlies.
Well, we're going to take a look at Ray Willis, the tail end of that play as he went strong to the hole. Tony Reed picking up the foul. That will send Ray Willis to the foul line on the season. Ray shooting from the free throw line about 70%. Once again, just about what the Bobcats shoot as a team from the foul line, about 71, 72%.
He gets the first. First point of the night for Ray Willis, and of course he was such a big factor in Bozeman.
Ray with 25 in the game in Bozeman. So those are a couple of, I guess, late points from what you would expect from him offensively.
He gets both free throws. Bobcats lead it by 9.
Down low. Allers into the game.
There it is to Vanek. He goes inside. Lots of contact. No call. And here come the Bobcats. And Allers gets the rebound. Good rebound for Allers. Grizzlies needed one there.
You bet. Comes in, immediately contributes. Doesn't have to make a shot, but grabs the rebound. Something that the Grizzlies have not done a good job on here early in the second half is rebounding. Fellows playing off Vanek, daring him to take the 15-footer. That's not in Steve's range, and he passed up the shot.
Zanin looking for some help. He drives, puts it up off glass. Tinkle tipped, it won't go. Vanek gets it, and he scores it. That's the sort of thing the Grizzlies need, some offensive boards.
Yeah, Steve's averaging about 7 rebounds per game. That was a big one right there. They're crashing the glass hard, and the crowd is going crazy.
Bellows doesn't get it. Tony Reed with the rebound, and the foul will go against Crowford.
Well, there was an instance where Crowford had been getting away with that, slashing in and out, and no one had been checking him off the boards. That time, Allers laid a body on him and drew the foul. Crowd going to the offensive glass. Very hard, very active.
Early substitutions for the Bobcats. Clayman Jacobs and Chris Conaway check into the ball game.
Larry, the Grizzlies with a couple early baskets here, and where have they came from? Down low, and that's where the ball needs to go. But take it in and then pop it back out to Zen and then back in.
The lid is on the basket for the Bobcats. They're shooting 1 of 9 here in the early going in the second half.
Clayman Jacobs into the game for the Bobcats. He's matched up with Vanek.
Tony Reed spinning, doesn't get it. Tony Reed gets the offensive rebound. Vanek, it doesn't go. And we have a call inside a scoring against Clayman Jacobs.
Hey, how about the Grizzlies? I got to say something before you say anything. What a job they're doing now on the glass. Now they're going hard to the boards. That's Grizzly basketball. That's what they need to do.
To use a cliche, are they letting them play? I mean, it is physical down there.
They're getting after it.
Whew. Not for the faint of heart.
No.
And we're going to have a foul call against Crowford. Away from the ball.
Well, that's 2 quick ones on Crow.
His 3rd for the evening.
I wonder if Stu Morrill just didn't say, hey, fellas, we're going to get blown out of our own gym if you guys don't strap it on and go in there and grab some rebounds, and that's what they're doing now.
The ball comes into Allers. He's open. He'll take it, and he hits it. The lead is down to 5.
That's nice to see him hit that shot. Now, he started for the Grizzlies a great deal of the season. Recently, he's come out of the lineup, and Stu Starner, with a good timeout. Good 7% from the floor, but so far, as you mentioned, he has given him that spark that K.C. McGowan gave him in Bozeman.
Look at Stu Morrill on the bench trying to get the crowd into the game. I think they're a factor right now.
Definitely. Oh, look at that defense. Woo! Again, Michael Jordan would be pleased with that, hanging in the air, double pumping, getting bumped, hits the shot. Look at,
And that quiets the crowd in a hurry. 8 points for Shan Furt.
If he misses that shot, you say it's a bad shot. If he hits it, you're going, oh.
And that foul's going to go against Shan Furt. He got Zanin on the arm.
Z blew him away that time. A little head fake, and he was gone down the lane. Left Shan out at the three-point circle.
First foul of the game on Shan Furt.
Take a look at it again. See you later, Shan down the lane. Nice job of helping out by Tom DeMaco. He comes over and gets a hand up, and Shan caught him from behind. Z will go to the line for a pair of free throws. On the year, Z, a great free throw shooter. 85.6% on the season. Pretty sure bet that he'll knock a pair down. Z with 5 points on the night. Only 2 of 8 from the floor in the first half for Scott.
Got out to a good start. I thought he might be ready to have a big game. But, we talked to Stu Morrill about that. As Zanin hits the second free throw, it's a 5-point Bobcat lead. Ray Willis is probably the best defensive player in the Big Sky Conference.
And last year he had to worry about Tony Hampton, another very quick play. You know, there's a couple of great defensive players.
Again, the crowd trying to help the Grizzlies out. Travel. Clayton Jacobs lost the ball.
And that's the 4th turnover for the Bobcats in the second half already.
We thought it was in the second half. 4 turnovers in the game. That's an amazing stat.
Not that at all. Stu Starner, more than pleased with that, though. It's the tempo of ball that they play.
Grizzlies now have a chance to cut this lead to 3.
Down low.
Cody Reed takes the J from outside. It's a 3-point lead. 8 points for Reed.
See, you can set that up when you make them respect your inside game. You bounce it in, bounce it back out.
And that's an offensive foul on Crawford. His 4th.
That's 4 on Crown. He'll have to come out of the game right now. Definitely with 14 minutes left. And there's Calvin Andrews up off the bench. He will replace Crowd Perch.
And offhand, just looking at it once, it looked like a good call. Things are going crazy in Adams Fieldhouse.
Crowd will take a seat alongside Stu Starner. Calvin Andrews coming up. That's quite a change. You're trading off a guy that's averaging 16 points per game to Calvin Andrews, who's averaging just 3. That's got to hurt the Bobcats, at least in the scoring column.
Full court pressure by the Bobcats as they'll try to pick up the intensity a little bit. So far in the second half, the Grizzlies have outscored the Bobcats 12-6, but the Bobcats still lead it by 3.
See, in low, then back out.
Reed doesn't get it, and Clayton Jacobs with a big rebound for the Bobcats.
It's a good shot for the Grizzlies, though. That's what they need to do.
Oh, good move. Nice basket by Clayton Jacobs.
And it's so nice to see him playing well, too, coming off knee injuries from the last 2 years. Sat out a lot of games. He went down this game 1 year ago was the one that really blew his knee out, and he's come back to rehabilitation, and nice to see him play well.
And it's 8 points for Clayton Jacobs. 5-point Bobcat lead. Nearly a steal by Willis. Vanek controls. Tipped once. The Bobcats control. Kelvin Andrews. Bobcats now can build this lead back to 7.
Look for Tom DeMaco to get a shot here. He has not really been a part of the Bobcats offense. He wants the ball. He's clapping for it. Says, give me the rock.
Good block by Vanek. Reed controls the loose ball.
Steve says, Ray, you're challenging me. I'm going to swat you.
Nice pass by Zanin. Vanek puts it up off glass. He doesn't get it. Loose ball. And Ray Willis controls for the Bobcats. Ray Willis gets it in the basket. His first field goal of the night.
That's a big league basket right there. 4 points for Ray Willis. Looked off Scott Zand and had Tom DeMaco on the wing. Looked him off and went all the way to the hole.
The last time out obviously turned things around for the Bobcats. Tony Reed moves into the lane and a foul will go against Chris Conway.
Well, you have to penetrate and you have to make something happen. That time, Tony Reed drawing the defender towards him, making the referee make a call. As we see Casey McGowan coming into the game, he'll replace Scott Zanin. Watch Tony Reed, put the ball in his left hand. Chris Conway tries to make the steal, can't come up with it. Tony Reed creating on offense, and that's what you want your guards to do.
Todd Powell also checked back into the lineup for Montana. So the Grizzlies going with Tinkle, Vanek, McGowan, Tony Reed, and Todd Powell. We haven't heard a lot from Powell lately.
No, I was going to say, we haven't seen anything from Todd Powell in the second half. Just must have been something that Stu Morrill felt that he wanted to get some other players into the game, because I thought Todd Powell played a pretty darn good first half of this ball game.
9 points for Tony Reed. Good free throw shooter, 82%. He gets a second. And the lead is back down to 5.
Tony Reed very fast, very quick.
Oh! Yeah, Tom DeMaco with the jam. Nice pass. They get it to DeMaco.
We'll give the credit there to Tom DeMaco, moving without the basketball. That's what you have to do. A lot of kids just want to go one-on-one. Watch DeMaco go back door. There it is right there. See you later, Wayne Tinkle. Reverse jam. Tinks comes over and gets the foul. Just a great job of moving without the ball.
10 points for DeMaco. 10 points, and the guy hasn't really shot the ball as well as he normally does. He goes to the line to try and convert the three-point play. This may, in the long run, turn out to be a very important play he does get the free throw.
Well, DeMaco's only won the Big Sky Player of the Week 4 times this year. He's averaging 20 points per game, rebounding about 7 per. He's just a tremendous basketball player, a potential pro, I believe.
I think everyone agrees that this year Tom DeMaco will be the Big Sky Conference MVP, keeping that award in the Treasure State where Larry Krastoviak had won it the last 3 years.
Casey.
Oh, whoa. Casey could have been called for a foul after coming in after the shot.
Casey might have got away with one, but you can't fault him for hustle. He was crashing the boards. Big steal.
DeMaco lost control. Wayne Tinkle picks it up. Just 6 turnovers, however, on the Bobcats.
All right, let's set it up now. Let's go into our offense. Let's get the ball down low and then pop it back out, as I've said. Watch Tony. He'll create. There it is down low.
This time, Tinkle out of control, but he does draw the foul.
And that's what will happen when the ball goes down low. If those big fellas don't hit the shot, then they will draw the foul.
I cannot believe the way they're letting him bang down there.
They're getting after it.
Take a look at how physical this is as Tinkle makes the move.
Well, he beats Clayman Jacobs bad. Andrews just hacks him on the arm. Calvin didn't come over and get good help position, as that is 4 fouls on Clayman Jacobs. Is who they got on the foul. It appeared to me like Calvin Andrews really caught him on the arm, but at any rate, Wayne Tinkle will go to the free throw line, shooting about 71% on the year.
2 for 4 tonight, now 2 for 5. And the Grizzlies need to hit their free throws. 56-48, Montana State on top. 11 minutes, 54 seconds left to go.
This is a very big ball game as far as momentum goes heading into the conference tournament, because both teams had a rather tough weekend last week against Boise State and Idaho. The Bobcats with a split, but the Grizzlies got blown twice.
And the Grizzlies really know they need to play well to get some confidence back heading into the Big Sky tourney. Nearly a turnover. To Tom DeMaco. And I think that jam kind of helped Tom DeMaco say, I'm going to get my touch. 58-49.
You won't hold him down for long. He will get his points.
13 points for DeMaco.
Bobcats in that tough man-to-man defense. What a great pass. You bet. That's a good call.
Vanek is fouled inside. I think it's going to go against Fellows.
You know, on one end we had Tom DeMaco with the backdoor cut. That time Steve Vanek, the identical play. Fake Mike Fellows, went outside, pop back in. Maybe we'll be able to take a look at it, but moving without the ball, that's what basketball's all about. A lot of people don't understand that. We catch the tail end of it. Vanek up strong, doesn't get it to go, but he'll go to the line.
10 points on the night for Vanek. He's 2 of 2 from the free throw line. Ooh, and that one was a brick.
That was a stone from a good free throw shooter. You know, Bobby Knight, Steve Alford, of course, probably the finest player in the country, but that's the one thing that Bobby Knight is always on Steve Alford about, is moving without the basketball, and that's what you have to do.
And Vanek misses 2 of them.
There's Big Wayne.
Oh, tipped up and in. I think that was going to go to Allers. Back in the ball game, and Allers makes his presence felt.
Mike Allers making Stu Morrill look like a genius, bringing him off the bench. Allers contributing immediately on both ends of the court.
Turnover, Calvin Andrews couldn't handle the pass. Grizzlies can get it back down to 5.
Big time down the court for the Grizzlies. They need a hoop here. We're seeing Allers and Tony Reed and some of the other players handling the ball much more. They're playing Z at the forward position, something Stu Morrill told us he was going to do.
Tinkle did not get the roll inside. Bobcats come out on the run. And the basket for Calvin Andrews will count.
You know who made that play, though, was Ray Willis. Andrews threw him a bad pass behind him. Somehow Ray Willis came up with the ball and gave it back to him, but the play was made by Ray Willis.
The foul goes against Steve Vanek. Take a look at the break.
Well, we didn't get to see Ray coming up with the pass, but a nice job by Calvin Andrews. Gets bumped by Steve Vanek, hits the shot. Good concentration. Never lost sight of the basket. Always kept his head up, and that's why he hit the shot.
Andrews converts a 3-point play. And now Steve Snodgrass steps into the game for Montana State. 58-51, the Bobcats lead it.
And I believe that's the first time we've seen Steve Snodgrass here tonight, a player that's logged quite a few minutes for Stu Starner during the year. Field goal defense, you see right there, both teams at about 46%, giving the other team. So a couple of very fine defensive teams in the Big Sky Conference.
That's where things have changed a little bit, I think, since the last game. Last game in Bozeman, Montana was number 1 in the league field goal percentage defense, but the Grizzlies have had some defensive problems in the second half of the season.
Due mainly to both teams having to go on the road to play.
Wayne Tinkle doesn't get it. Far short. Bobcats come out. Ray Willis will go to the basket. Oh, what a nice move. 6 points for Willis. And now the Grizzlies trail it by 12.
You know, that's an NBA move. You know, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. That's just a tremendous move. Get it down low. Tough shot.
And Zanin gets it. It's back to a 10-point game, 63-53. 8 points for Zanin.
No one's ever doubted that Zeke can shoot the ball. He can light it up. He gets hot, and he'll shoot you right out of a ball game.
Mike Aller is working in the man defense against Tom DeMaco. He knocks the ball out of bounds. And we have a timeout on the floor.
Six hasn't been as offensive here today, yet he has made other things happen other than scoring.
A 10-point lead for the Bobcats, 63-53. 9 minutes, 38 seconds left to go in this game, the 225th meeting between the Bobcats and the Grizzlies. The ball goes into DeMaco. Turn away against Bannock. And that is a tough shot, 15 points for DeMaco, and all of a sudden Tom is feeling it a little bit.
Fading away to boot. He didn't go up straight with that shot. That's quite an effort. Big score from Flagstaff. Boise State and Northern Arizona tied at 71. They are in overtime right now.
Wayne Tinkle tried to get the basket inside. He didn't, but he drew the foul. We'll wait and see who it goes against. And at the half, it is Reno trailing Idaho 30-28. And, of course, that also a game that will determine some of the seedings. Watch Wayne Tinkle moving inside.
Tinks with a lot of moves down low. He'll take this ball strong. Goes up with a little finesse, a little French pastry on the other side. Doesn't get it to go.
You know, there really wasn't much contact on that one when we looked at it. Wayne Tinkle gets the free throw. It's a 9-point game.
Wayne says there was contact.
Excuse me, an 11-point game.
Tinkle, a good foul shooter on the year, shooting about 71%.
He gets them both. 10 points. 10-point lead for the Bobcats.
A couple of big hoops that time. They needed them. They didn't need to go down more than they were already. Right now they're down 10, 65-55.
And once again, with the Bobcats coming back for that lead, the crowd not a factor in the game. Oh, that was a travel against Shan Birch.
Well, it looked like he came down with the basketball. It sure did.
Stu Morrill was working the refs on that one.
Stu saying, come on, refs.
That was good defense by Scott Zanin. He forced Shan Birch, it looked like, to come down. And now Steve Bannock called for the foul inside. Mike Fellows will go to the free throw line. But that's no great loss. He's shooting 45% from the free throw line.
He's a bricklayer, a mason from the foul line. He's the kind of guy that shoots better from the field. You're better off fouling him and sending him to the line.
Steve Bannock picks up his third foul. Mike Fellows with 8 points in the ball game. He had just 4, all in overtime in the first game in Bozeman.
I think if it came down to the end of a ball game, I think Mike would be one of the players that you'd have to get out of the ball game. There he gets one.
1 of 2. It's an 11-point lead for the Bobcats.
Bobcats still in that man-to-man defense. You won't see him come out of that very often. Casey McGowan and Tom DeMaco, an interesting matchup. KC, as we talked about, was instant offense in Bozeman.
There's Bannock. Bannock gets a nice jump hook in.
Tough move. Boy, is that strong, and that's a little bit of everything there. That's beautiful. 12 points for Bannock.
And Zanin, I believe, will be called for the foul on the poke away. That will not put Shan Birch on the free throw line. That'll be just the 5th team foul against the Grizzlies.
And you know, Z, even if he gets that ball clean, it's going to get called for that more times than you won't. Referees just won't let basketball players reach. Right there, even if you get it clean, you're going to get nailed for that.
Now the second foul on Scott Zanin.
He actually had pretty good defensive position. He didn't need to poke in at the ball like that.
And, you know, Sean, the Grizzlies came back because they went to work on the boards, and they haven't been able to get those offensive rebounds in the recent minutes, and that's why the Bobcats have built the lead back up.
And Stu Starner says with about 8.5 minutes left on the clock, it's time for me to get my big fella, Kral Furch, back into the game. Silly turnover.
Goes over to the Grizzlies. 8 turnovers on the Bobcats.
Good job by the Grizzlies, though, of pressuring the inbounds pass. Let's watch Kral Furch and see how much sitting out for the past about 8 minutes has affected his game. He was very active in the early goings of the second half.
Grizzlies now with a chance to cut the lead to 7.
Down
into
low.
Tinkle. Vanek with the offensive rebound. The lead is once again down to 7.
Hey, he's just blowing Mike Fellows out of there.
14 points for Steve Vanek. There's the man Crow. It won't go. The rebound controlled by Tinkle.
Vanek and Fellows, a little extracurricular activity going on after the ball. A couple elbows, get off me, he's laying on me.
They are two big bodies in there. That's one way to look at it. Allers. Oh, he goes.
He's feeling it.
It's a 5-point ball game. 6 points for Allers.
You know, some players do a better job of coming off the bench, and Stu Starner says, I've seen enough. Another run by the Grizzlies, and he'll...
Grizzlies turning up the defensive pressure a little bit. Mike Allers doing a hectic job of chasing after Tom D'Amico.
45-second shot clock's been a big factor in this game.
Nearly a turnover, but the Bobcats get it back.
16 on the shot clock.
Crawford for 3. He gets it. First three-pointer of the game. And it gives the Bobcats an 8-point lead.
What Crow did well there is he squared his body to the basket, got his legs underneath him, and went up strong and straight for a nice shot. Good mechanics.
17 points for Crawford.
All alone. Great pass.
Oh. And Vanek missed it.
Oh.
D'Amico on the line. Two-pointer. That's a two-pointer. And all of a sudden the lead is back to 10.
Transition basketball. Now Steve Vanek, that's a 99% shot, and usually will end up in a dunk for him. That time he just lost his concentration momentarily and didn't get it to go.
17 points for D'Amico as he's really come on in the second half. Zanin off the screen. It won't go. And Tom D'Amico tracks it down in the corner. Here come the Bobcats. And the foul will go against Tony Reed. Ray Willis will go to the line.
Well, Ray Willis takes it right into your face, and he makes that official make a call one way or another. And when Tony Reed goes up to make a block like that and comes down, he's going to get called for the foul.
The Bobcats getting their points off transition.
Stu Starner, you're taking a look at. We will take a look at the Bobcats' last basket off the transition game. We will take Crow Furch from the three-point line.
That's the first and only three-pointer of this game.
Neither team shooting very well from the three-point line. The Bobcats just 1 of 8, while the Grizzlies are 0 of 2, and the Grizzlies are one of the better three-point shooting teams in the league. Have only tried 2 shots from out there.
There you see the graphic we were talking about. Willis misses that, his first miss from the free throw line. He's 3 for 4, and the Bobcats lead it by 11, 7 points for Ray Willis. We're approaching the 5-minute mark. Bobcats lead it by 11. Casey McGowan into the lane. It won't go. There's that man, Mark Schultz, with the rebound. It goes in. It counts.
Can you say shot in the arm? Because that's what Schultz just gave the Grizzlies. They needed a hoop there. Casey couldn't get it to go, but there was Schultz working hard down low.
4 points for Mark Schultz. We'll take a look at Mark Schultz, the freshman from Spokane.
Well, Schultz hasn't played a great deal this year. He has been coming off the bench and seeing a little more time lately, but that's just pure intense desire.
And Schultz hits the free throw. 5 points for Mark Schultz. 72-64. It's an 8-point ball game. Oh, poor defense by the Grizzlies. No help.
And it's not Scott Zanin's fault there. He got beat, but he has got to have help. Chris Conway just too tough. Just like Z with the ball on the offense. It's probably too quick for Chris Conway, but you have to rotate over and help out.
Casey McGowan will drive the lane, and the foul goes against Crow Furch, and he's gone.
And that a big one. You know, Stu Morrill said about Casey McGowan, he said, why did you put him into the game in Bozeman? And he says, just because I knew he would make something happen. He's going to go in there. He's a Montana kid. He's going to play hard. He's from Missoula, Big Sky High. And one way or another, Casey McGowan will make something happen, and that's what you're seeing right there. Watch Casey take the ball. He's going to slash in on Crow. Beats him to the hole, lowers the shoulder, Crowd's going to pick up the foul, and Casey McGowan doing a good job of taking the rock to the hole.
No doubt about it. Free throw is extremely important at this point in the ball game. We have just over 5 minutes left to go. 74-64. Casey McGowan at the free throw line for the Grizzlies. Not a good free throw shooter, shooting 63%, almost 64%.
That's probably due to attempts more than anything. He has not had a great deal of attempts during the year.
Crowell Perch, what a factor he was early and really through the entire game. He checks out, falls out of the game, hit 7 of 13 shots from the field, 1 of 1 from three-point land. He had 2 of 3 free throws, and he ends up with 17 points. Crowell Perch fouls out of his final regular season game.
Well, I don't believe he played more than about 5 minutes in the second half. He was plagued by foul trouble. Stu Starner takes a calculated risk when he puts him back into the game with 8 minutes on the clock, and he's in for 3 more, and he's gone.
Grizzlies now with some full court pressure. They trail it by 8.
Not many 6'10 boys can handle the ball like what we just saw Tom D'Amico doing there.
It doesn't go, but the foul will go against Tony Reed. He was on the arm, no doubt about it.
Good call by the official. Ray Willis makes things happen.
Montana State leads at 74-66. 4 minutes, 51 seconds left to go, and this the 200. Sean, defense is such a team game.
And Chris Conway showing right there that if you don't play team defense, then you're just going to get beat on the other end and you're going to give up hoops. That time Chris Conway, coast to coast, lays it up with the left hand. As we talked about, Scott Zanin might have got beat back on the rotation, but he has to have help, and that's not really his fault. His teammates, there's 4 other guys out on the court that have to come to his aid.
Ray Willis will be at the free throw line for the Cats. He can build the lead back to 10. Willis has 7 points on the evening, 3 of 4 from the free throw line. He'll be shooting 2. He was fouled by Tony Reed.
Eight-point lead. The Grizzlies have, the Bobcats have led by 10 points most of the second half. That's been just about where the margin has been.
And Willis gets the roll.
Ray, a good foul shooter on the year, shooting about 70%. Impressive number for Ray Willis is that he shoots 58% from the floor. And for a guard, that is truly amazing. I was talking to Stu Morrill and Stu Starner, asking him what they would be happy about with their guards shooting from the floor, and most of them would say about 50% is great. So 58%, I guess that tells you a lot about Ray Willis.
9 points for Willis. It's a 10-point lead. Zanin throws it.
Oh!
It goes. Count it.
A prayer, and it's answered.
That's an NBA continuation, I think, basket.
That's nice. Hanging in the air, knocks it off glass.
Let's watch Scott Zanin get the 9th and 10th points of the ball game for him.
Tremendous athletic move, splits the defenders, hangs in the air, double pumps, and falls through.
Zanin, the top free throw shooter in the Big Sky. He gets another one. And all of a sudden, it's back to a 7-point game.
And that a big 3-point play. Cuts the lead to 7, as you said, and we have a whistle and a foul.
And I think from the reaction, it may be going against Tony Reed.
I think he was holding Chris Conway on the inbounds pass, trying to not let him get position to get the ball in. The Bobcats are in the bonus, so those fouls will hurt as they will send the Bobcats to the line every time down. Both teams in the bonus, I should say, as the Grizzlies are in the 1-and-1 as well.
Grizzlies trailed it by 9 at the half. They cut that down to 3 points fairly early in the second half, but the Bobcats built it back up, and the Bobcats have been in control of this game. Willis gets the free throw. He's now 6 of 7.
You know, if you can't shoot free throws in these big ball games, then you might as well get yourself off the court, because you just have to make them.
Wayman Jacobs. And here comes Zanin. Grizzlies 2-on-2. Oh, Z was out of control. And I don't think there was any contact there. Scott Zanin just got a little bit out of control, trying to make it happen.
One of those ones, if he goes down the lane and hits that shot, everyone's going crazy. And if he doesn't, well...
Bad pass by the Bobcats. The Grizzlies get the turnover. Oh, Mike Allers, that's outside his range, and he's hammered by Tom D'Amico.
And that's the biggest gift of the night for Mike Allers. He had his heels on the end line, let it go, no one underneath, and he draws the foul. Holy Moses.
And Mike Allers will go to the free throw line.
I'd like to be inside Stu Morrill's head when he saw Allers let that ball go from the sideline. Oh,
The ruling is that the foul was after the shot, so it will be a 1-and-1 for Allers, not a shooting foul. Mike Allers with 6 points, and he's done a lot of good things for the Grizzlies in the second half.
You bet. He's really contributed off the bench, as we talked about. A starter for most of the season, but as of late has been coming off the bench and contributing. You know, there are a lot of players that play better coming off the bench. The game's in, they can come in and try to contribute instantly, whereas if they're starting, they have to feel the pressures of being a starter. And for some players, a young player like Allers, it's easier to come off the bench.
Allers got the first. He gets a second. He cuts the lead to 6. And the University of Montana calls a timeout. Stu Morrill decided call a time with a 6-point ball game, 77-71.
Not the same situation as in Bozeman. You know, this is about where Casey McGowan came in Bozeman and went crazy, getting about 8 points in 3 or 4 minutes. And right now they need someone to come in and spark them right now.
When you look at the University of Montana now, the Grizzlies trailing right now. If it comes to a situation where the Bobcats need to foul, the freshman John Record shooting very poorly, chances are he's not going to be in the ballgame. He hasn't seen all that much playing time. But the Grizzlies are a good free throw shooting team. Those are the 4 free throw shooters.
There's really no one you can go after for the Montana Grizzlies. Montana State, on the other hand, fellows like Record, you probably won't see him in the game. Steve Snodgrass, another player that we haven't seen much at all here tonight, and the rest of the Bobcats, pretty good foul shooters. So all in all, not really anyone that you can go to and foul, other than if the head coach is with his side to leave a Record or a Mike Fellows in the ball game.
So here's the situation, 77-71. The Bobcats lead it. We have 4 minutes, 21 seconds left to go. I think it's worth talking about, Sean, that the Bobcats are at least on the verge of something they haven't done for a while. The last time they won one of these games in Missoula was 1982, and they won it 58-57. The home court has stood up well in this series for about the last 4 years.
Very difficult to win on the road, and this place is difficult a place to play as any place in the Big Sky Conference, as the Grizzlies record would bear out. 16-1 here, while the Bobcats on their home court finished the year undefeated.
In fact, the last time the Grizzlies lost a Big Sky Conference game at home was 3 years ago, the 1984 season against Weber State. And the Bobcats are in danger of breaking that streak. It's a 6-point lead. Shan Perch back in the ball game for the Bobcats. Clayman Jacobs loses it on the floor, and we're going to have a foul called against Scott Zanin.
And that a gift right there, because Clayman Jacobs has lost control of the ball completely. That will send Jacobs to the line for a 1-and-1, and an ignorant fan throw something out onto the court.
There wasn't too much doubt about that one. I think if you take a look at it, I think most basketball fans have to agree with this call.
Some might not. I know some Grizzly fans that wouldn't.
9 points for Clayman Jacobs as he hits the first free throw. He gets the bonus. He can put this back at an 8-point lead. He does, 79-71. Clayman Jacobs in double figures with 10. Oh. Tony Reed, it doesn't go. Steve Bannock with the rebound. And the foul goes against Clayman Jacobs as he sort of horse-collared Steve Bannock.
Almost pulled him down from behind. Steve Bannock very active underneath. As I said, Bannock averaging about 7 rebounds per game. One of the leading field goal shooters in the Big Sky Conference. And there is a battle going on. You're going to see the miss by Tony Reed. There's Bannock very strong, and Clayman Jacobs all over him.
So Steve Bannock will go to the free throw line. He missed his last 2. He's 2 for 4 in the evening from the line. Right now the Grizzlies need every point. Bannock with 14 points in the evening. And he gets the first.
He made 2 very big free throws in the game in Bozeman down the stretch that tied the ball game up for the Grizzlies with very few ticks left on the clock. So he can't shoot under pressure.
He misses the second. Loose ball. Scott Zanin controls. 3-pointer. It doesn't go. And here's Shan Perch ahead of the group. And he's fouled by Tony Reed. Shan going to the basket strong.
Well, Scott Zanin doing a good job hustling the boards, pulls it out and takes a 3-point shot with not really very many people underneath to help on the boards. The Bobcats make them pay, though. They get their transition game going. There's Shan out on the break. Tony Reed cuts him in the arms. And that will be it for Tony Reed as he'll check out of the game with his 5th foul.
Tony Reed did a lot of good things on the day. We'll get you updated in his stats in just a moment. Tony Reed fouls out with 3 minutes, 32 seconds left. Shan First will go to the free throw line for 2. He can put this at a 9-point lead once again.
Tony Reed did play a fine ball game for Stu Morrill as we take a look at his statistics on the game.
Tony Reed with 10 points, 4 of 10 from the field, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. He did not attempt a three-pointer.
Had some assists, played a good floor game, did what Stu Morrill wanted him to do.
And Shan First hits both of them. It's a 9-point Bobcat lead. Here comes Scott Zanon on the run. Three-pointer by Todd Powell. In and out. Loose ball. Scott Zanon controls it. Another three-pointer. He hits that one.
You know, that's a great shot by Scott Zanon, but I believe it's a little bit early to come down and start firing up everything from three-point land that you get. Way too early for that.
Still over 3 minutes left to go. Ray Willis comes right back with the two-pointer. It's an 8-point lead for the Bobcats.
You still have to get good shots. There's plenty of time left.
See if the Grizzlies get into offense this time.
Get it down low. Come on.
Oh. One-on-one. And Mike Allers will be called for the foul. Grizzlies just not doing anything on offense.
That shot's not going to win you a ball game. Not down the stretch when you need to get a good shot to Tinkle or a Vanek. That's just...
Sometimes with that line they paint on the floor, folks forget that there are other ways to get three-point plays by getting the ball inside, getting a basket, and a foul.
Definitely, and there's just too much time left. Good call by the official. Allers over the back.
Final score, Big Sky Conference action. It was Idaho State over Weber State, 79-58. That means that the Bobcats will play Weber State in Flagstaff, Arizona next week in round 1 of the Big Sky Conference tourney. And I think that's a good matchup for the Bobcats. They've beaten the Wildcats twice.
Weber State has probably more talent or as much as any team in the Big Sky. Was picked #1 by most people and just had a horrendous year. And I guess people in Ogden are just scratching their heads as to the reason why.
And also, as we have a timeout on the floor, Chris Conway hit both free throws. I believe it is a 10-point lead for the Bobcats. Also want to tell you quickly, Boise State beat NAU in overtime. The final score was 83-81. That means that Boise State will go to the Big Sky Conference tourney as the #2 seed, and that Montana will go in as a #3 seed. And I think, although it's not final yet because there's still one more game to go, that is Idaho against Reno, I believe that means that in all likelihood the Grizzlies will go in and play Idaho in the first round.
Well, Boise State, a great basketball team right now. They are playing very good ball. And they will be a force to be reckoned with in that tournament. You can bank on that. Stu Morrill telling his team right now, hey, let's go to the boards. Let's do what we do well.
Foul. We'll let you know. We'll let you know on the fouls. Conway, all right, and Jacobs. Conway and Jacobs, all right? Don't panic. Don't panic in front of us. And hey, long shot. High rebound. Hey, rebound. Free throw. Rebound. 1, 2, 3.
And some good information from both coaches. The thing I heard Stu Morrill say, just what you were saying, Sean, don't panic. 2 minutes, 43 seconds left to go in this game, and I'm sure he wasn't really pleased with his team's shot selection.
No. What can you say about it? Just, you know, there's plenty of time on the clock. They're down 10 points, which seems like a lot, but still, you don't need to start casting from three-point land.
Wayne Tinkle with the pass to Vanek. Vanek doesn't get it. He puts it in, though, and he is fouled on the second go-around. And it's still a ball game.
And Big Wayne may have got away with the travel. Referee said no. Steve Vanek, it was a nice pass down low. Maybe we'll get to take a look at it. Here's Tinks with the ball. Yeah, we didn't catch. We caught the tail end of it again. At any rate, a real nice pass down low to Steve Vanek. He won't miss too many shots down there and hits the second one.
And that foul against Tom D'Amico means that he is just fouled out of the ball game. Tom D'Amico, a big factor in this second half, not a big factor in the first half.
No, I don't think Tom D'Amico had his best game that he'll play in his career, yet he was a contributing factor to the Bobcats' lead right now, which is at 8 points. Steve Vanek going to the line to try to cut that lead to 7. A big free throw coming up, 2 minutes and 36 seconds left on the clock.
What the Grizzlies need are some turnovers to get back in this game. Tom D'Amico fouls out of the game with 17 points. He hit 8 of 16 shots from the floor as Vanek misses the free throw. Allers with a good job on the offensive boards. That was a three-pointer which didn't go. Casey McGowan doesn't get the roll, and here come the Bobcats. And that's a block against Scott Zanin.
Well, I have a tendency to watch the head coach of the team that gets called for the foul, and Zanin was called for the block. Stu Morrill didn't blink an eye. He sat right down and I guess pretty much agreed with the calls. He steps in. Yeah.
Not much doubt about that. Fourth foul on Scott Zanin. That'll put Shan Furch at the free throw line. And I hate to say anything after last month's game. 2 free throws here by Shan Furch to put the Bobcats up by 10 with 2:25 left, and the Bobcats would be in good shape.
Put one thing in the book, however. The Grizzlies will not quit. They will battle this game down to the very end, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see them get back in it. Not that they're out of it now, but I mean 10-point lead with what time is left on the clock. They have their work cut out for them, but they have the talent out on the court to do that.
So the Grizzlies now trail it by 10, 87-77. Zanin's going to drive the lane. He doesn't get the roll. A tip by Allers. Zanin controls. Z will keep going at you. We know that much. It's a 7-point ball game.
That's what I was talking about. The Grizzlies will battle you.
And that foul against Allers, probably a pretty good foul. It will be 1-1. It'll put Chris Conway at the free throw line.
Once again, you have to ask yourself, though, is that with 2 minutes left in the game, a little bit early to start giving up fouls and sending them to the line. You'll see Chris Conway, pretty much an intentional foul by Mike Allers.
We'll wait and see. I did not catch the immediate call. Yes, it will be a 1-1.
Chris Conway on the year, a 70% foul shooter.
Oh, that's no. Count the free throw. If the referees see that in time, they can award another free throw, can they not, Sean?
Not very familiar with the rule, but that is ridiculous.
I remember seeing that happen once. I believe it was in a Syracuse-Georgetown game. An object thrown on the floor during a free throw. Chris Conway hits. Conway hit the first one. He doesn't get the second one. Tinkle with the board.
Big trip down the court.
Zanin for 3. It rolls in.
They want a timeout.
And a quick timeout by the Grizzlies. It's a 5-point ball game. Scott Zanin with 20. Sean, it has been a struggling 20, but that is one gutty ball player.
That is one kid that will never quit. The kid probably has more heart than anyone in the state of Montana. He'll keep coming at you. 88-83, and we're going to watch Scott Zanin coming down and hitting that three-pointer.
He got the roll, soft rim. Well, we almost had it. We almost had it. Best laid plans of mice and men, something to that effect.
Scott Zanin, though, he will not quit on you. He has struggled a little bit offensively here tonight, but boy, you can't take nothing away from the effort that he's given out on the court.
Here we go.
Pulls up, squares up the ball. He's going to get the friendly rims of the Dahlberg Arena. And look at him immediately calling timeout before the Bobcats can get the ball in bounds. That is a heady point guard. That's the kind of play that you look for from your seniors.
You know, I really think folks make too much of Scott Zanin maybe not doing everything he does in other games against the Bobcats, because I really think that the Bobcats do a great job of taking away Zanin. It's the other people on the Grizzlies who don't pick up the slack that really cause the problem for the Grizzlies.
You're exactly right. Totally agree with you. 20 points for Zanin on the night, as we mentioned. 5-point lead, and I knew they'd be back with that three-point shot, although I kind of wonder sometimes if you want to go to it too early and just start taking the first three-point shots you get. Yet it is a weapon that can get you back into a ball game in a hurry.
Let's face it, Scott Zanin is trying to pull a Tony Hampton right now. He's trying to take control of this ball game.
So far, he's done a pretty good job.
He's done a pretty good job of it. Zanin has kept the Grizzlies in it for the last couple of minutes.
And with DeMaco and Crowell Furch over on the bench for the Bobcats, that's got to hurt.
The long pass will go to Willis.
Might have traveled.
And that one is blocked. No call. It will belong to the Bobcats.
And a good no call by the official. I'll tell you what, down the stretch in these ball games, you better make darn sure that it's a good foul or a blatant walk before you start calling things and taking things away from players.
Steve Vanek checks back into the ball game. One other score to pass along to. It is not yet a final. In Reno, it is Reno on top of Idaho, 53-49. That's with about 10 minutes left to go in the ball game. If Reno wins that game, the Wolfpack will go in as the fourth-seeded team. That ball goes off. Todd Powell out of bounds. The Bobcats will retain possession.
You know, one more comment about the officials. That is one of the toughest jobs there is, and this game has been very well officiated, I felt. Boy, good patience by Shan Furch. Wide open from the three-point line, no one within 5 feet, and he pulls it back out.
Minute and a half left to go in this game.
30 seconds on the shot clock. They're running the time off.
And the foul before the pass, so there will be no shot. I think the foul is against Mike Allers, and that should put Ray Willis on the free throw line, and he has been dynamite there tonight. It is a 1-and-1. It is not an intentional foul.
Ray Willis, a junior from Houston, Texas, has been the team's defensive MVP the past 2 seasons. Takes it down the lane. Allers just grabs him from behind. We'll send him to the line for the 1-and-1.
And Willis is 6 of 8 from the free throw line. He hits the first one. It's a 6-point Bobcat lead. And the lead is 7. And here comes Scott Sannon.
Get out of my way.
Another three-pointer. This one won't go. Todd Powell.
Good hands. There it is down low.
And Tinkle doesn't get the basket. That was a big one. Mike Allers calls for the foul. Clayman Jacobs will go to the free throw line.
That miss might have done it right there.
Yep.
They needed something that time down the court. Wayne Tinkle with a great opportunity down low, a shot that he's going to make more times than he won't. He doesn't get it to go, and we've seen the Grizzlies blow a lot of bunnies down low tonight that are going to come back to haunt them sooner or later. Tinkle down low, front irons it. Clayman Jacobs with the board, gets fouled.
Clayman Jacobs will go to the free throw line. You heard Stu Morrill saying that one of the men we wanted to foul, but he's shooting 74% on the season. That's not bad. Not shabby.
If you were going to foul someone, it would be Clayman, though.
It rolls in.
You know, Clayman made some big free throws last week against Idaho that won the ball game for the Bobcats, yet
with less than a minute left, the fans leaving Dahlberg Arena. I don't know. That's not always safe. But it's now a 9-point game, and the Grizzlies now have to start casting and fouling. Scott Zanuck controls. Grizzlies need to get a shot up. Todd Powell, that must have been close to 30.
That's the NBA.
And the Grizzlies get the timeout. The Grizzlies get the timeout. It's 92-86. 38 seconds left to go in the ball game. Boy, a lot of credit to the Bobcats. 2 of the biggest players, veterans, sitting over there on the bench, Tom DeMaco and Carl Furch having fouled out, and they have kept their poise. They have not made any silly mistakes, and boy, that's a big, big compliment to that team.
It comes down to 2 things. It comes down to having depth, and the second thing it comes down to is great coaching. As we watch Todd Powell throws it up from the Grizzlies' arm, that's got to be about 27, 28, 29 feet, somewhere in that area. At any rate, it's a bomb. But as we were talking about, it's a tribute to Stu Starner. He has the depth on the team, and he has the players doing what he wants them to do out on the court come crunch time.
If the Bobcats do win this game, it would mark their 4th straight win over the Grizzlies, and that has not happened for a long time. As a matter of fact, the last time MSU had a streak like that was in the mid and late 60s when they had a streak of 8 straight wins over the Grizzlies.
You know, for so many years it was Bobcat football and Grizzly basketball, and you know, now I guess times are changing. I'm not saying it's not Grizzly basketball still, but Stu Starner's got this team to a point right now to where they can challenge and play with anyone in the Big Sky, and for that matter, I think most teams in the nation, as the Grizzlies can too.
You know what's scary for, I'm sure, Stu Morrill and the rest of the Big Sky Conference? Bobcats have 1 senior, Carl Furch, and that's it.
They got a player coming back next year, a red shirt by the name of Ron McCrary, who played a couple years at Colorado State, and he is a fine, fine basketball player.
It's a 6-point ball game. If the Grizzlies can get a couple of missed free throws, they still have a chance. Willis is fouled. We'll wait and see if that's going to be a 1-and-1.
Good foul by Casey McGowan. You have to get the foul right away. You cannot let time run off the clock. Casey with a heady play. I believe that will be a 1-and-1.
It looked like it should have been. There was no blatant intentional foul there.
Well, it looked like he reached in and tried to slap the ball away.
Ray Willis, though, 8 of 10 from the free throw line, and that's another thing the Bobcats have done a great job of, hitting their free throws.
Yeah, he's been iced from the foul line. There's no question about that.
It's a 7-point lead.
39 ticks on the clock.
Bobcats just did a great job in this game of keeping the crowd out of the game. Every time they needed to make a play to keep the crowd out, they got it. It goes over the top. That's a turnover to the Bobcats.
94-86, a lot of points for the Grizzlies to give up. That is the Bobcats more a style of ball that they will win games in a high-scoring end-to-end affair, and that's what they got him into tonight.
And Mike Allers will be called for the foul with 30 seconds left. So the Bobcats are going to end the Big Sky Conference season with a 12-2 conference record. And Sean, if anyone would have told me in December that a Big Sky team was going to go 12-2, I would have said they were crazy.
And Stu Starter would have told you the same thing too. He felt that 10-3 right around in there, 11-4, somewhere around there would win the Big Sky Conference. His team has just done a tremendous job this year.
And Mike Allers fouls out of the ball game, and again, Mike Allers had a lot to do with the Grizzlies making a run at the Bobcats earlier in the second half.
Mike really played well. There's nothing to be ashamed of. He gave it all he had.
So it's Chris Conway at the free throw line.
One thing's for sure, Larry, these teams will go into Flagstaff, Arizona later this week, and it is a second season. All this really doesn't matter in a couple weeks, or excuse me, in a couple days.
Chris Conway gets the free throw. That's right, the Bobcats proved that last year. It doesn't make one bit of difference where you finish in the regular season. He gets them both. It's a 10-point lead, and the ball game is over for all practical purposes. We'll play out the string. Scott Zander looked at the official saying, come on, give me a call. But he didn't. Clayman Jacobs blocked the ball out of bounds. Grizzlies will inbounds. 22 seconds left to go.
Big Clayman out challenging shots at 20 feet.
Todd Powell doesn't get that long-range shot. And here come the Bobcats for a little icing on the cake. Scott Zanin steals it. 10 seconds left to go. And the turnover. Here comes Ray Willis. 1 second. It's over. The Bobcats win it. They have beaten the Grizzlies in Missoula for the first time since 1982. The final score, 96-86. The Bobcats finished the conference season at 12-2, and they will enter next week's Big Sky Tourney as the top-seeded team. We'll be back with post-game activities after this. You see your final score. The Bobcats win it 96-86. And Sean, a couple of key things. First half, Bobcats doing a kamikaze job on the offensive boards.
Doing a great job, and that kept them in the game in the first half, and that's what took the crowd out of the game. They didn't let the crowd jump on them early, and that's just a great tribute to a lot of the guys on the Bobcats front line that really came to play.
Now, Joe Wren is standing by with Ray Willis. Ray Willis was pretty quiet in the first half, but boy, he was the one that made a lot of key free throws down the stretch. Let's go down and see if Joe Wren is ready to talk with Ray Willis of the Bobcats.
Hey, you better believe we're ready. With Ray Willis down on center court and the crowd's gathering around Ray, there was a point late in the game. You looked over, winked at me as if to say, hey, we got this one, baby.
Yeah, I knew. Well, they was coming back on us, and Scott Zander and all his teammates, they was giving a run at it. But I guess tonight we proved why we're Big Sky Conference champions, and we had some guys to go out like Tom and Crowd, but we just had to have a team effort, and we knew that Calvin and Jay came in and filled the void, and we just came out victorious, which I'm thankful for.
Ray, I'm telling you what, Montana hasn't lost here conference-wise in a number of years, and you came in and knocked them off. What kind of confidence does this give you going into next week's tournament?
This give our team a lot of confidence and momentum going into the Big Sky tournament, because we felt that if we could come out and play in Montana's place and play real well like we play at home, we felt that we could get the momentum going into the Big Sky Conference, and so we just came out and did what we had to do.
At the beginning of the year, a lot of people are saying, hey, we lost Tony Hampton. What are we going to do? Well, Ray Willis is every bit as fast, and I'll tell you what, you're turning it on just like he did last year. I think you're going to have an outstanding tournament.
Well, thank you. I just hope we have an outstanding tournament, and I wish Scott Zander and those seniors the best wishes, going out into the tournament and out to the world. And, it was an honor playing with both of those guys.
Absolutely. Ray Willis, a class act. Congratulations. Good luck. Okay, we'll have more interviews. Many more interviews. Let's go up to Larry, and we'll be right back down.
Okay, 96-86. Thank you very much, Joe Wren. Ray Willis. And the Bobcats are heading for the Big Sky Conference tourney. And again, these are unofficial, Sean, but let's talk about this real quick. I'm quite positive the first round pairings will be Montana State against Weber. That one we're sure about. Weber will finish last.
And that an interesting matchup. As we talked about, Weber State with loads of talent, just haven't been able to put it together this year. And as we talked about also, anything can and will happen in the Big Sky tournament.
And Joe now is standing by with Crowell Furch. I'm sure Crowell a little bit disappointed that he fouled out of the game so early, but what a tremendous first half this young man played. Joe, take it away.
Okay, we'll do just that, Larry. In the first half, this man standing next to me, Crowell Furch, came in a man possessed, made somewhat of a mockery out of his outstanding home court advantage they have here at Montana. Outstanding game, Crowell.
Thank you. One of the goals I set personally before the year is that I wanted to win in Missoula. This is my 4th year. We hadn't done it in the previous 3 years, so I'm really happy with this victory.
Well, very few people have ever won here conference-wise. In fact, it's the first time in about 3 years, Crowell. But you came in, this is your last game with your brother, Shan. Anything special there you want to talk about?
Just playing with my brother has been great, and I'm sure he'll have a great career. And I just want to thank my teammates because I had to watch a lot of the end of the game, and it was up to them, and they came through for me, and I'm thankful.
Now, doesn't that say something for the depth of the Montana State Bobcats, that they can lose you and D'Amico and still come out and pull this thing in the later stages?
Yeah, it does prove a lot. You know, we need this momentum going into the tournament, and our bench played great, and I think we're looking good going in.
Do you have any quick thoughts on that championship coming up next weekend?
No, it's just all the teams are playing really well right now, so it's going to be hard to come away with the 3 wins. So we're going to gear up this week, and Montana has got to regroup, but they're a good team. They're going to be there in the tournament too, I'm sure. Okay, quite an exciting game, and you were part of the crowd. Congratulations on a fine career, and we're looking forward to some great things in the postseason. Thank you. Okay, and we'll have more. Let's go back to Larry for just a bit.
Thank you very much, Joe. Again, the final 96-86. The Bobcats win it. I would be remiss if I didn't congratulate the Montana Grizzlies on a fine regular season. Montana Grizzlies will finish the Big Sky Conference season at, if I can add here, 14 games, and they won 8 of them. They will finish 8-6 Big Sky Conference season. They will go in as a number 3 seed, a team picked to finish anywhere from 6 to 7. That's a good performance, but Stu Morrill knows that he has to get this team straightened around. They're going into the tourney having lost 3 straight.
Now, you'd have to be crazy if you counted the Grizzlies out going into this postseason tournament. They have the guns, and they are loaded, and they can play basketball. They've proven that all year long. It's nothing to be ashamed of. The Grizzlies have been tremendous all year long, and they have played very well, and I believe that Joe has Stu Starner down at courtside.
Okay, you bet we do, Sean. Down here with Stu Starner and one of the brothers, Furch and Shan. We'll talk to Shan in just a minute. In fact, let's talk to him now. Shan, we just talked to Crowell a minute ago. This was your final game playing with him. Quite a tandem from Livingston. Your thoughts on this final game?
I just had a great time playing with my brother for the last couple of years, and in the years we had in high school also. I just have a great time playing with him. He's one of my favorite players. Personally, I like to watch him. It's just an all-around good occasion that we get to play together. I really appreciate that.
Okay, the Montana State crowd was rocking and rolling early on when Crowell came up with that monster jam. Any thoughts on that one?
I thought it was a very nice dunk. It can happen to anybody. I mean, you can't blame it on Zan or anything. You got to try to stop it. You know, it's just that both of them were rising to the occasion. Crowell got a little higher that time.
Really shook the dunk-o-meter. I don't know what it's up to, Crowell.
It's got to be about 46, 47 now. It's up there.
Crowell's got her up there. You have it up there, the entire team. Congratulations on an outstanding season. You'll be back next week and next year as well. Now to my left, Stu.
Joe, I like Crowell Furch too. I like when he's playing on my team.
I saw you last night at the hotel room. You guys were crowding around. It was like a couple of long-lost kids out there for you.
This was a very, very fine victory for us because we played a quality team tonight in an arena that very few people can come in and get the job done. We led the entire game. They would come back with a very, very courageous run, and we would come back, and we never let them get over that hump. And I think very significantly for the Bobcats, we had a couple people in foul trouble, and we showed tonight that we really are a team. We go down there where 9, 10 guys made significant contributions.
Well, Stu, we thought in the first half, offensive rebounding by your team had to have been a key. 11 boards, and you really dominated inside there for a while.
By far our finest outing of the year, and we needed it because when we look at the stat sheets, we're going to have some players that didn't shoot nearly as well on open shots as that we have shot all year, and yet despite that we found ways to get the job done, and then of course in the end making those free throws in the last 3.5 minutes are really important, and we never broke, I don't believe, once.
You have to be awfully proud of a Montana State Bobcat team that can lose D'Amico and Furch to fouls late in the game and still pull this thing out somewhat handily.
Yes, and to pull it out against the Grizzly team again that kept the pressure on with those three-point shots that they put up. Paul hit one from downtown, Zanin hit a couple, and they really came after us hard, and that's the type of rivalry this has been, and we certainly feel wonderful for the victory, and it's more wonderful when you beat an outstanding team like the Grizzlies.
Okay, let's move on. Next week on your Eagle Sport, or right here on our 3-station network anyway, Big Sky Conference Championship basketball, the semis and the finals. You will draw Weber State in that first game. Any quick thoughts?
Well, it's every week is a new week and every game is a new game. We're going to need to come out with the intensity that we had tonight, because we're now in single elimination play. One bad night or a bad night by a couple players and it's all over. But it's the exciting time to be an athlete and the exciting time to be a coach. You hope it brings out the best in all of us.
Okay, heaven forbid an early exit from the playoffs by you guys, but what happens, say, if you win 1 or 2 and lose in the championship? Do you go to a NCAA or NIT, do you think?
Well, I haven't been named to the committee yet, but if I was, Joe, I'd vote for us.
Okay, I'd vote for you too, doggone it. You're a swell coach. Crowell, the First brothers are outstanding. Tom D'Amico had a great game. I mean, you look down the line and people are saying, hey, we might have a dynasty here at Montana State University. Who knows? I think the University of Montana will have a little bit to say about that. In just a few minutes, we'll try to get a hold of losing coach Stu Morrill, who has done a fantastic job with this team this year. We'll try to talk to him in just a bit. Let's go to a break.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you very much, Joe. 96-86 the final. Sean, I don't know if we quite have our halftime stats as far as displaying the graphics yet, but when you look at the keys in the second half, I listened to Stu Sarner talking, and it seemed like every time the Bobcats needed to make a play, they did.
Yeah, and the rebounding was a big key in the second half. The Grizzlies did do a better job of going to the boards in the second half, and that got them back into the game when they needed to come back, yet the Bobcats at least neutralized them in the second half, and that was a big key, the rebounding.
I think we're going to take a look at the final stats, and I think the first thing that's going to jump out, again, it's a wash in rebounds. It ends up even. Bobcats controlled the first half. Shooting percentages, Grizzlies is just, I'm willing to bet that is their poorest shooting performance at home this season. 41%. That's not a good performance.
No, and I think Stu Morrill had hoped his team would shoot the ball much better at home, because they did not shoot the ball very well last weekend on the road, and I know that's one stat that he'd hoped would improve. I guess maybe give the credit there to the Bobcats defense. They played a lot of pressure. The Bobcats have given up a lot of points this year, but they also score a lot. But give the credit there to the Bobcats defense. They did a good job.
But again, Stu Morrill has done an outstanding job with a young Grizzly basketball team, and Joe Wren is standing by with him.
Well, you're right, Larry. An outstanding job and an outstanding coach. He's in his first year replacing Mike Montgomery here at the University of Montana. And Stu Morrill, you're a class act. I want to talk to you about the game itself as far as individuals. You lost the game to a very talented Montana group, but still you have outstanding 3 seniors that will be leaving that will be sorely missed.
Well, it's a tough way for them to go out, too, Joe. You know, lost to Montana State. Montana State, you have to give them all the credit in the world. They're a very good basketball team. We couldn't shut them down. We simply could not defend them, give up 96 points, and it's tough to win when you do that. I thought that they got us in a little bit of a panic the first half, and we weren't playing very good basketball. The second half, I was real pleased with our effort, but we dug ourselves such a hole that it was hard to get out of, and like I say, our effort was pleasing, but the result certainly wasn't. You have to give Montana State all the credit in the world. They're a good team. They got very good players. They're on a roll right now. You go 12-2 in our league, and that tells you how good they are. And I just feel like we simply couldn't defend them.
Okay, Stu Morrill, again, a class act and a class team, and they are going to be heard from in a few days at the Big Sky Tournament. Larry.
Thank you very much, Joe. And again, the Grizzlies will go in as the number 3 seed, and they will in all likelihood, although it's unofficial at this point, play the University of Idaho. And Stu Morrill, I know, is a very disappointed man right now, and the Grizzlies have lost 3 straight, and they'd like to get things turned around. Sean, final comments on the game.
Just that, an interesting matchup, the Grizzlies and Idaho. Those teams have played each other very tough during the year. The Idaho Vandals coming away with a big win last weekend over Montana. Look for the Grizzlies to regroup, and I think they'll win that ball game.
Again, this was the 225th meeting between these two teams. You see the final score on your screen. And it is the first time since 1984 that the University of Montana has lost a Big Sky Conference game at home. They were beaten by Weber State. This game between the Montana